It's 19:30 Central African Time. Good evening, and thank you for being a part of our network. The story that has dominated social media in the last few days is on the Garissa University College attacks in Kenya. We'll tell you about the hashtag that Kenyans are using to remember the students that died there. South African comedian Trevor Noah has been facing a lot of criticism in America over his tweets. We'll have a chat on how journalists and whether journalists should be using tweets for quotes and stories. My name is Pumela Lezondi. Remember, we are live, so find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Now, Kenyans have taken to social media to try and make sense of what happened when Garissa University College was attacked a few days ago. They have started the hashtag 147, not just a number, to share photos of the ones killed during that Al-Shabaab attack. Kenya's Deputy President William Ruto has posted these pictures in his social media accounts. Here he can be seen visiting those that were injured by members of Al-Shabaab when they opened fire in Garissa University College a few days ago. As Ruto is using his social media pages to show how much he cares, some are using the same method to criticize the government for what they see to be slow response. As that happens, there are those who are searching for their family members who were on campus when the attack happened.
I saw her. Yeah, she's there. I did not find him. I come here, I did not find any name. He is the only brother I have.
And some are sharing pictures of the missing in social media. And then there is the hashtag 147, not just a number. It is a campaign by Kenyan citizens to try and put faces to the 147 that were killed by the Somali militant group that managed to cross the border, ending up at the university where gunfire was opened on students. Twitter has become a platform that people are using to mourn, piece together what happened, and even share information. There are many reasons some people are turning to social media during these hard times. The same happened last year with the spread of Ebola in West Africa.
The people on social media are some of the society's most influential. If they get an issue started, you're likely to have that issue become a national issue. Two, they have access to those that are not on social media.
What social media does is to really raise issues, making them visible enough for everybody to pay attention to them.
As Kenya's traditional media has predominantly been talking about just the numbers of those that died, social media here has clearly done what Coaco is saying it does, which is to bring issues and faces of those that have passed onto the face of the public. Maybe the question now is, how long will it continue to do that for before tweeps move on and before they find another popular hashtag to focus on? 14 will mark exactly 1 year since 276 schoolgirls in Nigeria were abducted by militant group Boko Haram. On the day, the world will mark what is called hashtag Global Schoolgirls March to protest for the safe release of the missing girls. This while the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls website also plays its role to keep hopes alive.
The organizers of the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls have set up an official website where they publish articles about the abduction of the 276 Chibok girls on social media. Some of the articles have gained widespread popularity as they have been forwarded and supported by celebrities.
Because of this advocacy, the American University of Nigeria in Adamawa, when some of the girls escaped, took 21 of the girls and have offered them scholarship to be in the school.
Organizers admit that the social media campaign alone is not enough. They also embark on daily sit-ins in the capital city, Abuja.
The reason why we're here is we do not want the girls to be forgotten, and we want people to empathize so that government rescues the girl.
The hashtag Bring Back Our Girls campaign group in Nigeria is continuing to search for the remaining 219 girls abducted by the Boko Haram militant group almost 1 year ago. It was on April 15, 2014, when Boko Haram abducted 276 schoolgirls from Chibok in Borno State. Since then, the world has rallied behind the Twitter hashtag Bring Back Our Girls to force the Nigerian government to do more to secure their safe release.
Now, hip-hop mogul Jay-Z, R&B musician Alicia Keys and several other superstars have bought out music streaming service Tidal. They have relaunched it under the same name. They're now hoping to reduce the dominance of other live streaming sites such as Spotify and Pandora. But at the heart of this move is the constant argument by musicians around proper compensation for digital music rights.
In the Western world, downloading music is on the decline while live streaming is on the up. And this past week, some of the world's biggest names in music took advantage of this. Led by Jay-Z, artists such as Beyonce, Usher and Alicia Keys launched a revamped global streaming music service called Tidal that can be accessed through the internet.
We want to create a better service and a better experience for both fans and artists, and that is our promise to the world. Our mission goes beyond commerce. It goes beyond technology. Our intent is to preserve music's importance in our lives.
The promise of live music streaming is quality sound and video. Tidal says it will also provide exclusive content to the user. For the artists, though, the advantage is the promise that they will be properly compensated. Musicians often complain that they've been cheated of their digital music rights. Last year, in a shocking move, Taylor Swift pulled her entire catalogue from the rival music streaming service Spotify. Much of Swift's catalogue is now available on Tidal. Still, Tidal is entering a crowded space with stiff competition from Spotify and Pandora Media. The shareholders of Tidal are pinning their hopes on users to help them revolutionize the online streaming space. This tweet by Kanye West says it all. Tidal is available in 35 countries, including South Africa.
Let's see some of the other top technology stories from around the world.
Nestled on the banks of River Ganges, India's northern temple town of Varanasi is in the grip of a monkey crisis. The city, also Prime Minister Narendra Modi's constituency, gets a large number of tourists, both domestic and foreign, every day due to a religious significance. But monkeys are tampering with this holy town's internet connectivity by constantly chewing on their wires.
I'm trying to get Wi-Fi, but I couldn't get it, so it's like hard to get Wi-Fi. I really want to text my mom and text my sister, so yeah, that's the problem I'm facing.
The monkeys in Varanasi are seen as an avatar of the Hindu god Hanuman and are considered sacred. Chasing away or trapping the monkeys will outrage residents and temple goers. The government is left to find other alternate ways to deal with the situation without chasing the monkeys away.
There is an immense monkey menace. They bite the wires and the signal gets disrupted. It happens very often. We have laid down optical cable wire underground till the banks, which has resolved half the problem. But at this point in time, it is not possible to do so everywhere across the banks. So we take it above head and also deal with monkeys.
A pipeline around the banks to lay down wires is also an option the department is considering. 16.4. Meanwhile, across the Pacific Ocean, electric cars are doing the rounds, racing on tracks similar to those used by Formula One Grand Prix cars. The streets of downtown Long Beach, California, have been converted into a racetrack for an all-electric car race, the Long Beach E-Prix Championship.
What most excites me about electric racing is the power to change people's perception of electric cars through racing, through a sport.
The streets snaking through downtown Long Beach buzzed on Saturday as standard petrol-running cars made way for dot-shaped racing cars zooming by at quick speeds, minus the loud engine noise associated with conventional petrol racing machines.
0 to 100 is 4 seconds, which is like a proper sports car, so I think it's quite good. Top speed is around 220 kilometers per hour, which is not crazy, but enough for the street circuits that we're racing on.
Halfway through its inaugural season, Formula E has offered the same, although quieter, excitement as the popular Formula One events, with low-slung, open-wheeled cars capable of speeds up to 220 kilometers per hour. The race drivers will be competing in the second Formula E race in the United States, since the all-electric series was launched in Beijing in September 2014. Staying on U.S. soil, the country's online retail giant Amazon has now launched a dash button that can replenish grocery items such as coffee creamers and washing powder. Instead of going online to shop for household items that are running low, shoppers can now press this button and the item will be delivered to them. The gadget is aimed at attracting more household online shoppers. However, the device is only limited to Amazon's premium members.
After the break, Gideon Tebbit from Forte University joins us for a discussion on journalism and social media. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter at News Network, at sabc.co.za on email. Stay with us.
Get your issue of Evoke magazine at sabcevoke.co.za or download the app on iOS or Android and immerse yourself in our world.
On the morning of the 21st of February 1917, their ship was rammed by a liner. Legend has it that as the Mendi was going down, members of the 5th Battalion danced barefoot aboard the vessel. 616 died that day, most of them black.
After the rapid food security assessment that was done together with WFP and FAO, we found that this is one of the heavily impacted areas because of Ebola.
Over 300 bikers from across the province making a difference in the fight against blood-related cancer.
I'm here in support of cancer, and my sister has cancer, so I'm riding for cancer.
Catch all news locally and internationally. Tune into SABC, your #1 news channel, news at 8 from Monday to Sunday.
It's SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. Welcome back. Now, in the last week, we saw social media take center stage in the dissemination of certain information. It started with American media reporting on tweets from South African comedian Trevor Noah. Noah once had shows like Siyadlala and was presenter of Real Kopoza here at the SABC. Some said his tweets from a few years ago show that Noah should not have been selected to present one of America's most popular TV programs, The Daily Show. In Nigeria, President Goodluck Jonathan and President-elect Muhammadu Buhari used Facebook to communicate with citizens.
Now, reporting based on information in social media is becoming more and more common. Recently, South African comedian Trevor Noah came under fire from various American writers who said his anti-Semitic insults African Americans and could be promoting women abuse. This was all based on his tweets from a few years ago. Some said their analysis of his tweets proved that he is not the right person to replace comedian Jon Stewart as host of the highly popular American television program, The Daily Show. Noah is to take over from Stewart later in the year.
But you're relaxed now, you're not nervous, you feel good.
I'm still a bit nervous, to be honest, between your cops and, frankly, your Ebola.
Your Ebola, my friend, it's not our, believe me, he misspoke. You are from Africa. It's your Ebola, my friend.
No. South Africa, John. We haven't had a single case in over 18 years. In fact, my friends warned me. They were like, Trevor, don't go to the U.S. You'll catch Ebola. And I was like, you know what, guys? Just because they had a few cases of Ebola doesn't mean we should cut off travel there. That would be ignorant, right?
Daily Show is a program that analyzes American politics and news with a funny twist. To his defense, some American celebrities said reporters should stop judging the South Africans on content on his Twitter feed. Wits University's Ashfaq Karim says there is nothing wrong with using information on someone's Twitter feed when reporting.
It's important for them to realize that now they need to start thinking about which content adds value and which content can sort of tell the story in a more precise way.
Nigeria's president and president-elect both took to Facebook in the last week to thank Nigerians for voting. In Kenya, many relied on social media to get information on the Al-Shabaab attack on a university in Garissa on Thursday.
Now, joining us to chat about the use of social media when reporting is Gideon Tabit, who lectures media studies in the University of Fort Hare. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Now, is American media justified by going through Trevor Noah's Twitter feed?
I'm not so sure. Let's talk about Americans before what the media represents. I would be very worried if you were to, like every other person, I'll be very worried if you were to bring somebody completely new, previously unknown, to take over a show that's supposed to be a pillar, comic pillar for countries such as the United States of America. However, if you go back and look at the individual, Trevor Noah, you'll realize the producers of the show have actually made a very beautiful choice selection. That'll be my opinion, though.
But that's your opinion on Trevor Noah. Now, let's go back to the Twitter situation because, as you say, Americans don't know who Trevor Noah is. Here at home, we do. He's been a TV presenter here at home. He's been a comedian here at home. But now they've gone to social media to find out who Trevor is, and they've gone through his Twitter feed, and they're judging him purely on that. Is that correct? Is that right?
It's a yes or no situation. One, let us first of all look at what we mean by sourcing news. Any individual, any source material, any network channel that provides information that you can use to build a story on a timely manner is a source. So in this day and age, Twitter feeds and all Twitter accounts, hashtags are source material, so we can use them. However, there are a multiplicity of other sources we can use alongside the Twitter, lest we find ourselves in that kind of journalism where you see a lot of yellow at the top, then by the time we get towards the bottom, the story fizzles out without any real material, as in the case of most of the stories that you see with the Trevor story. However, what I need to make mention now clearly is that some American media, not all American media, has been critical of Trevor. There's been a huge upsurge and positivity towards his appointment as the new host for tonight's show.
But let's also talk about not just with Trevor Noah, the use of social media for information and to gain stories through social media. Do you think it's changing the nature of journalism? Is it good or bad?
I could take you a step backward and say, let us look at how technology innovation gets diffused. One of the fundamental conditions for you to begin to accept a new way of doing things should be that condition should not be entirely different from the traditional way that it was done before, the predecessor way, if you allow me. Now, for instance, if you look at your typewriter that we use for producing stories and you move to your laptop computer, it's not very different. Then go back now to journalism where we use tweet feeds and Facebook accounts, Facebook stories, Facebook happenings to actually feed our stories. It's not very different. It's just a viaduct that we take to actually inform ourselves of what is happening. However, like I said before, it is the responsibility of the journalists to actually vet the sources to make sure that they are bona fide and they can add credence to the story before they do that. Of course, we want to be the first to tell. However, we must make sure that we get it right before we tell.
In Noah's case, in this case, no one seems to have phoned him to find out his views. They just went with what was in social media. It's happened in the past, even locally, where a journalist would see something that a celebrity, a politician tweeted. They don't phone the journalist, they don't phone the politician. They use tweets only as their reference.
That is exactly what I mean. That if you were to carry out if you have to push such a story, the Twitter feeds and the Facebook accounts or whatever piece of information you get from the news and social media that is proliferated everywhere should not be the only source. You should go ahead and talk to this individual to actually add credence to the story. You might just get a new perspective to the story. And that's what real journalism is. But we don't see that happening now. But I insist, in this day and age, audiences want their story fast. Tweets provide that. Audiences want their story now and shortened. Tweets provide that. Facebook provide that. And that's exactly how stories are being conducted.
And the issue of vox pops, do they still get done, or do we just go on Twitter and be like, well, Gideon Tabit on his in 140 characters said A, B, and C, and he is somebody that lives in Johannesburg, therefore we will say he said that?
Not quite. Yeah. Vox pop are supposed to cut across the length and breadth of a society with regards to gender, with regards to demographics, with regards to the other issues of demographics, with regards to many other things. But if we go now and look at what is happening in sub-Saharan Africa today, take the Nigerian elections, we see a few individuals that are supposed to be, that have access to the internet or they have cellular phones and can access information and tweet and make comments on Facebook. And we use that to represent the entire Nigeria, which is wrong. The majority of the people that are in the rural areas of Obiakuta or far off rural areas in Nigeria don't get access to the internet or a cellular phone that is upgraded to the extent of actually having access to the internet. They don't get to be part of that vox pop that you are alerted to.
So is there a danger then, as you're saying that people would go to social media, and only a few people really have internet access in Africa. It's not 100% of Africans. And they say, in Nigeria, these people in social media represent Nigerian views. Is there a massive danger in that?
There is a massive danger in that, because it goes back to that elite closure that we talk about, where we pick a few that are maybe innovative to actually diffuse a new technology such as Twitter and Facebook, and you begin to say this represents Nigeria. But that's not entirely true. Let's just stay on the journalistic aspect of the stories that we see from Nigeria. You've seen a lot of hashtags that are positive.
Yes.
And they talk about hashtag Remember Our Girls, hashtag Nigeria Decides, hashtag Africa. Some have even pointing it to say it's a new trajectory that they're pushing Africa to see Africa Decides, which is good. But the entire idea is when you come back to the story itself, it comes from a few select people within Nigeria that have access to the internet, not the entire Nigerian populace that we expect to have.
All right, Gideon Tabet from University of Fort Hare, thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Right now, after the break, we'll find out about some of the technology stories from the rest of the world. Stay with us.
Of the 21st of February 1917, their ship was rammed by a liner. Legend has it that as the Mendi was going down, members of the 5th Battalion danced barefoot aboard the vessel. 616 died that day, most of them black.
After the rapid food security assessment that was done together with WFP and FAO, we found that this is one of the heavily impacted areas because of Ebola.
Over 300 bikers from across the province making a difference in the fight against blood-related cancer.
I'm here in support of cancer, and my sister has cancer, so I'm riding for cancer.
Catch all news locally and internationally. Tune into SABC, your #1 news channel, news at 8 from Monday to Sunday.
Remember, you can find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you very much for being a part of our network, and welcome back. Now, the Huawei Ascend Mate 7 is now available in South Africa. This is the Chinese mobile company's flagship phone, following the P7 that was launched last year. Producer Lebusi Jaki got to play around with the phablet. Let's hear what you thought of it.
Following its international launch in November 2014, the Huawei Ascend Mate 7 has finally docked on South African shores. And I got a chance to play around with it. First, let me switch it on.
At first sight, the size of the phone might have one exclaiming, "Wow, that's a huge phone." But it's actually not as heavy as it looks. The Huawei Mate Ascend 7 is a 6-inch display phablet. This is in fact not too far from the 5.5-inch Apple 6 Plus and Samsung's 5.7 Galaxy Note 4. Its outer shell is a metal body and frame, which reminded me of the HTC One M8 and feels pretty good in the hand. The Mate 7's hardware is made up of high silicon Kirin 925 chipset with a quad-core 1.8 GHz Cortex A15 processor and a quad-core 1.3 GHz Cortex A7 processor. I must admit, I was playing around with the phone the most of the day, and to my surprise, the battery life sustained the torture. The 4,100 amperes battery power for this smartphone can last between 12 and 14 hours after frantic browsing, texting, and phone call usage. But it can actually last 2 full days if used on an average scale. This device has a 13-megapixel rear camera compared to the Galaxy Note 4's 16-megapixel camera. This is child's play, but definitely not a train smash. Its 5-megapixel front camera is nothing to write home about, but it does have some cool features such as beauty enhancement mode. The Android operating system Mate 7 retails around 6,000 Rand.
Now here's what some people have been sharing in social media. One Kenya is what people in the East African country have been sharing on Twitter. They are trying to pull together after yet another attack by Al-Shabaab. Christians from all over the world have been celebrating with the Happy Easter hashtag. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook and Twitter. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. We leave you with an online video that takes the mickey out of selfie sticks. On Wednesday, a shoe company in America announced that it had released the so-called selfie shoes. This was in fact an April Fool's joke. From me and the rest of the team, have a good one.
Getting that perfect photo is now more important than ever. Selfie sticks have helped get a better shot, but at the inconvenience of carrying it. At Ms. Moose, we understand the importance of looking great without giving up comfort.
The selfie stick is a great solution to a problem, but in turn, it has created a new problem. This was the opportunity for Ms. Moose to create an even greater solution.
Introducing the selfie shoes. No matter where you go, you'll always be camera ready. Just insert your phone into the port, raise it to the perfect angle, and click the internal button with the tap of your toe to take the photo.
To get the best range of angles, we have also added a docking port on each shoe, so you can get a photo from either your right or your left shoe. The great thing about the selfie shoes is you no longer need to use your arm, so now both hands are free to be in the photo.
We're all super pumped about the selfie shoes. With wearable devices on the horizon, the possibilities are endless. We're working on a charging functionality as well as making the selfie shoes water resistant, so really, we're just getting started.